Welcome back. This is Sean for TightPoker.com. This is part 2 of the Custo80 project where I'm going to go through his hand histories. For those of you who don't know, he is a reader at TightPoker.com and he got in touch after seeing the videos and wanted me to go through his hand histories. And if you're a player playing these micro stakes and we're interested in a little critiquing of your play, that'd be great. We'd love to take care of you. All part of the TightPoker.com fan base reunion project or whatever you want to call it. But it should be fun. We're going to go through these hands, talk about strategy, and the idea here with these small micro limit tables, you're just playing good, tight, solid poker. You're betting the heck out of your great hands, and you're not really trying to get involved with pots where you don't have a made hand typically. But if you have odds, you want to get in there. So we'll get into that a little bit. So first hand here, we'll come back here. He's got King Queen suited under the gun +1. This was offsuit. I'd definitely be folding, but playing King Queen suited here, that's fine. Definitely don't want to be limping in. You want to be the initiator and raise it up. And so he does 30 cents. I mean, 3 times the big blind's okay. For 10 cent and then the 25 no limit tables, you want to be doing 4 times. It's just a good habit to get into, especially in early position. So we see a couple callers, more caller from the big blind, and Custo flops top pair, and he's got a gut shot. So some good things are happening here, but he's got to be careful because there are just so many draws out here that it could get quite dangerous for him. So you definitely want to be c-betting. The pot's 125, so $1.25. It's a very wet board, so the wetter, the more you should be betting. And he bets $1, so I like that. You get the caller, and so we're going to put him clearly on one sort of draw, if not an already made hand. The 5's a blank, so the good news is that none of the draws hit. So definitely should be betting big again. The bad news is that the made hand, it definitely isn't going away and probably check raise or just raising you here. So he checks. I don't like that move. I like the bet here, and he leads out. So you're not going away. You've got to call, and I mean a check raise here isn't a bad idea to definitely have someone get off their draw, and that's what he does. He shoves all in. So it's not a bad play. This is a 25 player, so they're getting in. They're seeing a lot of flops. If you really put them on a draw, I mean you got to understand that okay, this is either going to really work or totally blow up in your face. So if he calls, I'm guessing it's going to be a really horrible experience. He does call. And the turn is a queen, so 2 pair. Pi would have gotten in anyway, and he turned over ace king, so Custo lucked out here on the river. Didn't think ace king would play this passively, so kind of a good news bad news situation. I guess the hand was played okay. It's kind of hard playing these donks sometimes because they've got a big hand and you just quite never know. So pretty interesting situation there. Alright, our next hand here is pocket aces from the hijack. Get a limper and the raise. 3+1 is good. Would have wanted a little bit more because this player is a 31-3, so they're really not going to go away once they've limped in. You make it 40 or 50 cents, just let them pay that extra price and ideally isolate them and really get paid off if they even flop top pair and you've got an overpair to shove into them. So he calls predictably, and the flop is king 3-8. That's probably a lot of good news, especially if he has something like king queen in this situation. And he donks into you, so I'm guessing. I mean, donk bets are really weird. They're usually a draw or some sort of in this case, a pair of 8s, pocket 9s, or they're on that flush draw and they're trying to get the right price. So in this situation, you're raising 100% of the time. The pot's 125. I'd make it at least $1.25. $1.10, that's fine. And I'm sure that's the script. $1.10 is kind of a wonky bet size number, but I mean it's fine. And he calls, so he's going to put you to the test. The bad news is the flush fills, and so he bets into you. And I'm not keen on raising here, but I think folding is just not an option. So you shove, which I think you might be overplaying your hand a little bit. The good news is that you have an overpair and you do have a nut flush draw at this point. And he doesn't have too much behind, so he's calling and you're probably ahead. He does. He shows king 9. So, yeah, and you hit the flush too. So, good job there. Okay, here's pocket 7s, and you raise it. That's fine. And you get a call out of a 50-17. And flops all over. So this is actually not a good board to c-bet, because any hand that he's probably calling you with there isn't going away. So he checks and you bet. I really don't like that c-bet there. You don't have a lot going on, and this guy's not folding ever. And this is the kind of board where he hit his pair of jacks, you know, with king jack or jack 3, who knows. And he flats you. The deuce comes, you're kind of in the same situation. He checks, you check, that's a good check behind there. That's not a good card to double barrel with. And you hit pay dirt, hopefully, with that 7 on the river. And he shoves into you, which is really bizarre. If he had had it earlier, you know, he would have bet this earlier. So clearly, you're going to get it in here. You call, he shows kings, which is just... This is a model hand for why you don't slow play kings in this situation. That's ridiculous, and he deserved to lose his money there. So good job. The c-bet on the flop I don't really like too much, but good job slowing down. And then you hit your card and you got paid off. So good job. Okay, we've got somewhat of a benign hand here at 7-8 offsuit in the big blind. Get a limper. And the small blind completes, and you check. That's good. Any flop trips. That's always a good thing. Well, usually, not always. The short stacker checks, and with the pot 30 cents, this is not something you want to slow play. You don't want to check one time for this. You bet it. So hopefully it's like 25 cents, 30 cents, and that's what you do. So good job. And this player's a 36-4, so he's not going anywhere. And your short stacker, which, I mean, ideally would have shoved or something, unfortunately folds. The king there, that's actually a good card, because an ace-king or king-queen or that type of hand would have stuck around and called that bet, and now they've hit. So you continue to bet. Great job. They call. And then the queen comes, you know, $2, $2.50 there. You're not really beat by too much. So you go ahead, 250, that's fine. He calls and shows queen 10. So your trips beat his hand. I'm surprised he played the 10 so passively there at the flop. Certainly he was ahead of a lot of what you probably had, but that was a good hand for you, and way to not slow play it and get value out of your hand. That's definitely what you want to do when you hit big flops. Okay, we've got ace 10, and you raise it up, good amount. Small blind completes. He's a 60-15. So again, you're seeing a lot of these players at 10 to limit. They just don't like to fold. They're the types that just, I gotta see the flop. How do I know my 10-6 offsuit won't flop a straight? You know, I need to see the flop. And these are the players that'll lose 40-50 cents every single hand until they're just broke. So the flop is 8-6 queen, two-tone. So this is definitely a board you got to c-bet. It's a good c-betting board. Chances are, though, he's not going away. I'm looking at his fold to c-bet, and it's 0. So you still got to c-bet this board. I think you've got some good value. So that's what you do, and he calls. So that's fine. The 7's not a good card to double barrel with. You know, some draws might have hit there. Unlikely, but you know, the 7's just not a card that's going to scare him, so you don't want to be betting this. And he checks, and certainly you got to also wonder, we look at this, he's got $1.90 and the pot's 210, so at this point he might feel committed, so any sort of bet might be shoved into. So this is definitely a situation where you check behind, and that's great. And nice river card again, and you've rivered a straight.